Hi, Jeff here. Accounting is the basis of understanding the financials for any investment property. A key habit that you want to develop is making sure that you review your owner statement on a monthly basis. In this video, we're going to cover the basics of reading your owner statement. Let's get started. Unless there's a lot of maintenance transactions for any given month, your standard owner statement will most likely have just 2 pages. Let's take a look at it. Page 1 of your owner statement is going to have 3 basic sections, which are dates, summary, and reserves. For the first section, dates, on here you're going to see your statement period. This will showcase the period of time that the statement covers. For our company, the default date that we process owner statements is the 7th of the month. However, depending on the situation, this can fluctuate a day up or down if there's a weekend and/or holiday in the process. For the most part, the statement dates are going to be a day after last month's statement through the 7th of the current month. Next, the statement date is the date that the statement was prepared. Let's move on to summary. Under the summary section, it's going to give you a summary of the activity during the statement period window. This amount here of total owner distribution is the direct deposit that you'll be receiving. We refer to this amount as the owner distribution. Next, let's move on to the reserves. The reserve category is the total amount of funds being held back in reserves to process any payments, either current or future payments, that the property may need. This is composed of the reserve amount, any unpaid bills, and any work order estimates. For the reserve, this amount is going to be $750. That's the basic reserves plus any recurring payables. In this example, our recurring payable is a bill that we pay on a monthly basis, such as the gardener, the pool technician, HOA dues, etc. For this property, we pay the gardener $120. Therefore, the reserve is a total of $870. That's $750 of the basic reserves plus the gardener of $120 for a total of $870. The next category of unpaid bills is going to showcase any bills that have yet to be paid, and therefore it would increase the total reserves required. We work to make sure that all of the unpaid bills are paid prior to processing your owner distribution. Therefore, most of the time, this amount is going to be zero. However, there are some times where there is an amount reflected here. Let's move on to work order estimates. From time to time, your property may need bigger projects where we'll be needing to withhold larger amounts of funds in order to cover that project. If we know the dollar amount to get this done, we will update the file with the corresponding amount and it'll showcase here. As an example, if there was an estimate for a work order and it had a $1,000 price, that number would appear right here and therefore increase the total required reserves. One very, very important thing to note is that the amount here as the total required reserve is letting both you as the owner and me as the property manager know that this is how much should be withheld in the account. It is not actually the actual cash amount that is being held in the account. For that number, we're going to take a look at the ending balance and make sure that this number equals the total required reserves. It doesn't make sense to pay out to an owner distribution only to have to ask for money back and have the owner fund the account for any unpaid bills or work order estimates. Let's move on to page 2, transaction details. Transaction details is going to cover the details found in page 1. I personally like to divide this into different sections. That way makes it a little bit easier to understand. Let's start with beginning balance. The dollar amount here should match the ending balance for your last month's statement. This next section is for the owner, showing any activity on the owner side. Most of the time, you're going to see an owner taking money out of the property through an owner distribution. However, from time to time, an owner may need to fund their account for repairs and/or improvements. Therefore, that would be in this column as an owner contribution and show an increase in the dollar amount on the account. Next is the property. This section here is going to show the activity at the property level. In this section, we're seeing the rent come in of $5,200 and all the corresponding expenses such as the gardener, the HOA dues, and the management fee, totaling $665.80. Next, statement net. This section shows that every dollar is being accounted for. What we want to see here is that the total increase matches the total decrease. The increase on the account is composed of usually the rent. However, depending on the situation, it could also include flat fees on the utilities being charged or owner contributions. The total decrease that you see here includes the owner category as well as the property category. So in this example, it would be the owner distribution plus the expenses, the total expenses equaling $5,200. Finally, the last section, ending balance. The goal is to have this number equal the number on the first page under the reserve amount. Look, the bottom line, the goal is to make sure that you have a good understanding on the numbers, as this is the foundation of being in the know about your investment property. If you ever have any questions after you've reviewed your owner's statement, please let me know, as I'm always happy to schedule a call with you.